Well, first, good morning, everybody. It's very exciting to be here. I'm John Cross, your state representative for the 83rd District, which includes the beautiful Indian Lake region. And we're here at Bud's Marine today to make some really exciting news, the biggest news we have yet for Indian Lake. But before we do that, before we talk about a couple of projects that we would like to fund, we want to talk about how we got here today for two reasons. One, from the state level, Ohio is in really good financial shape. We have a AAA bond rating by all three creditors. We have maxed out the rainy day fund. We are only allowed to legally put in $3 billion to have funds available in case we have a bad economic year. We passed a $100 billion budget in 2023. So every odd year, we build a operating budget for the state of Ohio. And of that $100 billion operating budget to run the state, we still gave all of you a $2 billion tax cut of income tax reduction. You're very welcome. You could use that money to put a down payment on your boat. We did that because when I started in the legislature, we were not competitive. We had a 5-7% state income tax. And there are several states that have zero income tax. We are certainly on our way to having zero state income tax to stay competitive and welcome people here. And quite frankly, what we want to do is widen our tax base, not shrink it. So we're looking forward to that. So with that being said, with all the money we've got, the money we're spending, the money we are saving and putting back in your pocket, we still had $700 million left over in the operating budget. Really no place to put it. And I, for one, didn't really want to stick it into the bureaucracy of the state where we've already fully funded the state of Ohio. What do we do with this? So between the House and the Senate, we decided to basically have a strategic investment fund. Every even year, we do a capital budget. And as long as the state of Ohio is in good financial shape, we do traditional capital budgets where you have seen us help support park projects and other bondable projects that are connected to the state nexus. And in the last two capital budgets since I've served in office, we've gotten close to $700,000 worth of projects for Logan County, in addition to the money we've gotten to Hardin County and Hancock County. But obviously what we're announcing today will certainly supersede that and only add to that. Now, what does that mean for you? Well, first, we don't print money in the state of Ohio, maybe like the federal government does. This is your tax dollars. We're bringing your tax dollars back home so it works for you. This is your return on investment. We're doing good transformational projects, and I hope you feel good about that because this money, your money, could easily go to projects in Columbus, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. And while there's no problem with Columbus, Cleveland, and Cincinnati, we love our big CCC cities. People want to know that their tax money and their dollars are working well for them. So we're excited to make a couple of announcements with that. Second, it's an honor to be in Speaker Stevens' leadership team as the number 4 leader in the House, as the assistant majority leader. And what does that mean? Well, it gives you all a stronger voice and a seat at the table when we sit down and make these decisions. The House had $350 million to spend. The Senate had $350 million to spend. And what's great is your voice was in the room at the table helping to make decisions, not only for our district, but for the entire state. And one of those examples could be TRC, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, not the practice track, but the test track. We invested a good chunk of money into that, knowing how important that is for our region. Although not maybe technically in my district, we understand how important it is for Northwest and West Central Ohio, and what it is important for our automotive industry here. So we made a healthy investment into that and other things around the state. And then we also had a chance to bring home $9.7 million for our district, the largest record amount that I can think of back to the 83rd District. And a big chunk of that's coming here to Indian Lake. Before we announce a couple projects, first, in addition to the capital budget that we passed, we included $600 million for our school building program. We are trying to make sure that all these schools that are very old and aging can be able to have new school buildings. Most of the school districts in Logan County and Hardin County have fairly new schools. We have a couple outliers in Hancock County, so we still have a couple school buildings from the 1918, 1920s. The reason why they can't pass a levy is because their tax structure is not set to where the community would pay less money through a levy and the state would pick up the tab. They're in a position where they would have to pick up 90% of the bill, and no one's going to want to pass that levy. So we have to work on some of these outliers and make sure that we can get their tax structure right, so if they put a levy on the ballot to support the schools, that the local taxpayers don't have to carry the heavy burden of a new school facility. And at the end of the day, we want our kids to have the best schools, the best teachers, and the best educational environment in our community. So that's what that $600 million will do. $400 million for public works improvements. Again, infrastructure is very vital to the growth of economic development in our region. $397.6 million for higher education projects. And our sheriffs and county commissioners will be pleased to know that we are putting $250 million into local jail construction. Our jails around Ohio are aging. You cannot go to Home Depot and buy a door for your jail. It is very expensive to build jails and jail facilities. And although issue 2 passed, I was opposed to issue 2, we are looking at taking the tax revenue from marijuana sales and reinvesting that back into law enforcement, into jail projects. That seems most fitting given that issue at hand. So those are some big projects that we have in addition to what we're here to announce today. So let's talk about today. First, when I was approached by our friends who want to build a beautiful pickleball court, they came up to me. This was probably, gosh, the weather was nice. It was last year at one of the community meetings, and they said, "Hey, can we take a picture with you, and can you commit to helping us get funds?" And I said, "Well, sure, no problem." And then I opened up 2 days ago here, I was at Bud's, and I opened up the beautiful new Indian Lake Tourism Guide, and there's my picture. Full page says John Cross is going to get the money. Well, hell, I better get the money.
Yeah. Wait a minute, now we know what it takes.
Yeah, I was like, man, if I don't get this money, I'm in real big trouble. Well, we got you the money. We are pleased to provide $150,000 to our friends that are going to build a beautiful pickleball court. And this is just, we have beautiful parks and recreation all around the lake. You've got a great walking routes. There's so much just to do over here. And so our thought process is instead of trying to go build a bunch of new things and build new parks, let's take care of the parks we have. Let's add to these things. Let's add features to only enhance Indian Lake. And so we're very pleased to commit $150,000. And that will help shore up a lot of funding that you need. Maybe a few more dollars left, but I'm pretty comfortable to know I think you'll get there. So we'd like to welcome you up and say a few things. Yeah, you're very welcome.
Good morning. I'm Laura Kunkel. I'm a member of the Indian Lake pickleball community, and you can imagine we are pretty excited right now. This is exciting. I am filled with immense gratitude and excitement as we embark toward enhancing the recreational landscape of our beloved Indian Lake. I'd like to extend thanks to Representative Cross for his unwavering support and advocacy for Indian Lake at the state level. These investments announced today would not happen without you being a champion for Indian Lake, so thank you. I'm thrilled with the announcement of $150,000 toward the construction of pickleball courts at Oldfield Beach at Indian Lake. This investment marks a significant milestone in our efforts to promote active living, community engagement, and tourism. We've been fundraising for more than a year to build tournament-worthy pickleball courts here at the lake. This money puts us just steps from crossing the finish line. We will soon be able to build pickleball courts. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the country. Just last year, 39 million people were playing pickleball. That's a lot of people. Inspired by this momentum, we envision a vibrant recreation hub at Indian Lake centered around the 6-court pickleball complex at Oldfield Beach. This project is a collaboration with the Indian Lake Development Corporation, Indian Lake State Park, and dedicated volunteers. I am a dedicated volunteer. It symbolizes our collective commitment to enhancing the quality of life of residents and visitors alike. What sets our vision apart is the unique lakefront setting of the pickleball complex, a feature that promises to attract enthusiasts far and wide. This will foster tourism and economic growth for Indian Lake and beyond. Our mission is clear: to cultivate a healthier, more connected community while elevating Indian Lake as a premier destination for recreation and leisure. Thank you, Representative Cross. Thank you to our partners in this project. Thank you to the Indian Lake community for supporting us. Let's go build some pickleball courts.
All right. Thank you very much. And I just learned to play pickleball this summer, and I don't know whoever invented the scoring, but you're gonna need a calculator to figure out how to score pickleball. It's very complicated, but it was a lot of fun. And I love to play tennis, but this is a very fast, quick experience playing pickleball. So I'm looking forward to coming over and maybe serving the first serve at the pickleball court.
Really proud to have you.
However we do that. So
Yeah.
there won't be much to see, but we'll be excited. Next, I want to kind of circle back to how we got here and talking about Indian Lake. You know, I grew up in Hardin County. My parents came over here and spent a lot of time in Indian Lake. Still remember the amusement park. There's a lot of great history and tradition at this lake. We don't have many of these in Ohio, so we really have to take care of the beautiful God's creation of these lakes. And so there is always divine intervention in all these things that happen and what Mother Nature gives us. And a couple years ago, we obviously found out that we had a weed problem. And no, it's not the one you smoke, it's the one that's in the water. So it really shook this community. It certainly rocked us from here to Columbus, because it really, we were on the verge of losing a lake. And so I still remember going to a meeting, coming in from Columbus in a suit and tie, feeling a little out of place. And we said, we're gonna fix this. We have to fix this. There is no other option. And we went to work. Now I got to know Bud Chrisman previously a little bit, and his son Kevin, and ultimately got to know his family very well through other things, but we huddled back together and we worked not only with Bud, but a lot of groups here and all of you. And we appreciate your advocacy for Indian Lake. We appreciate everybody that has put a lot of work into this. But Bud and I worked a lot to work with other groups and seek out scientists and funding and support. And we got the lake in much better shape. We got it back to being boatable, fishable, and swimmable, in a place where it could have went really bad, really fast. But I think it was over at least a couple summers that we had to fight through challenging times. And we hope that the science and engineering that has taken place, plus Mother Nature, gives us a great start this summer, where we've had a slow start last summer and then almost an impossible summer previously. The good news is Indian Lake is open. It's open for business, it's open for enjoyment. And with weather like this, we're all going to get a little itchy trigger fingers to get on our boats and start the engines and get out there and have a lot of fun. But we have, I can't remember, I should know this. I remember like we got like 300,000 or 500,000, and then we came back with $1 million here and a couple million there. We were bullish to go to Columbus and say, listen, Mr. Speaker, Speaker Cupp at the time, now Speaker Stevens, we have to address this. We need to take this head on. And I really want to thank my colleagues in the Ohio House, because it takes all 99 of us to vote on this stuff. It may be our problem, but my brothers and sisters in the legislature understood that John Cross needed their help. We have an issue, and they supported the funding that came over here. And I want to thank them, because it takes a collaboration and effort from Columbus at the State House to here. I want to thank the advocacy group for what you have done to save our lake. You have saved our lake, and now we need to transition to supporting our lake. And we have to keep a watchful eye. I'm pretty confident in the science and technology and things that our water is going to be in good shape, and We've conquered, I think, what is a troubled situation. However, the work isn't done. And so what we're going to announce today is a record-setting number for Indian Lake. We are going to give you $5 million. $5 million to start the dredging program. And I think we all know, no matter if it is the Indian Lake Advocacy Group, the other organizations here, the Indian Lake Watershed, it's the ILDC, thank you, and all the groups. There's just so many people involved in this. The good news is what I hear consistently amongst all groups, homeowners, investors, organizations, is we've got to get this lake dredged because we're losing water capacity. What used to be 5-foot zones for water skiing and sporting are now 2 feet deep. You know, we're not here to go out and make this 20 feet deep across the lake. We're here to bring back water capacity, to take the sludge out of the bottom, clean this lake up, and when you can make your water deeper, you're only adding more water capacity, which makes our lake safer for swimming, safer for boating, safer for everybody. And the dredging process, there's two things. First, what I did not know was the state dredging program is only $6 million for the entire state. Not enough. This $5 million is nowhere near enough. This is a $100 million dredging program if you want to dredge all of Indian Lake 3, 4, 5 feet deep, deeper than where the spots are. But this is a start. If my friends in the Senate, who have access to $350 million and a lot more spending power with 33 senators versus 99 members at $350 million, can match my $5 million, we will now have $10 million or 10% of what we need to dredge the entire lake. And this is a long-term process, but what we're signaling today to all of you is that we are going to get this done. And the best way to do that is through public-private partnerships. So Bud and I joined forces to go talk to the ODNR director, and we had a wonderful conversation. And it was really important when we were done with that meeting. If you remember on social media, I said, Bud, this is the picture that's going to be seen around the world. It was me, Bud, the ODNR director, and another ODNR staffer. That picture would have never existed 2 years ago when we were beating heads together because we were putting pressure on ODNR to say, get off your ass and get this lake fixed. And that's tough. We call it tough love and tough talk. But that's what it takes to move a bureaucracy. And so we have shifted from beating heads to building collaboration. And that started when we sit down in the meeting, and we have a verbal guarantee from ODNR that we will continue to work on and get things in writing, get permits. But I think they'll welcome private dredging. It's going to take private dredging firms that know what they're doing, that can come in and get this lake dredged. Because if we wait for the state dredging program, you'll be dead, I'll be dead, and this lake won't be 5 feet deeper. Okay? That's just the facts. So we are going to work with private dredging companies to come to this lake and make this work. The $5 million to be received by the Indian Lake Advocacy Group is in no form a slush fund for the advocacy group or any group here. What this is going to be is the groups working together. Homeowners, investors, business owners coming to a table and working together to figure out how we can solve this with a focus on working together. I assume what will happen here in the future is if we get additional funding and we basically find venues to hold the funding, because Indian Lake Advocacy Group, probably much like the Watershed Group or 501c3s, it is a great place to shift that state dollars into their bank accounts, and then we can collaboratively figure where we want to move that money to start bringing in our private dredging companies. The advantage we have by doing that is it takes the state out of the process of going through all the red tape and bureaucracy to bring in and hire and do all these things. We're trying to cut out the red tape. We're trying to really make this a smooth process because the private sector knows how to get things done, fast and efficient. And so we have a lot of trust in the advocacy group. We have a lot of trust in all these organizations to work together. But I will stress to you that we have to work together as a community. We have to work together, and we can all take credit. This has nothing to do with me doing this or Bud individually or any of the groups out there. This is a team effort because it is going to take many years to get where we want to be. So my guess is someday we hand off this mantle or trophy to other future leaders of this community to keep that process going. But I've heard time and time again since I've been your state rep, you know, my channel never got dredged. They said they was going to have a dredging program by the state. It never got through it. We're going to force the issue. And by doing it this way, we are forcing it to the private sector where it can get done. And we're really excited about that. I'd like to welcome Bud Chrisman up here to talk a little bit about his effort. But I really appreciate his leadership, his commitment, because what I think about this with Bud is I think of every single business owner who is hanging on by the fingertips to keep their business open for business. Do you think this business will be here if we don't have a lake? Absolutely not. Do you think the McDonald's that got torn down to the ground zero and rebuilt back can survive? Absolutely not without this lake. And so we are doing this for you, the boaters, the fishermen, the swimmers, the homeowners on the lake, the homeowners off the lake, the businesses around the lake. If this lake doesn't exist, we all don't exist. And so we're feeling really good that this is an economic shot in the arm for not only the lake, but for our businesses and all those who live and work here and love it here like we do. Bud, it's all yours.
Thank you. First, I'll say it's an honor and a privilege to be here today. I want people to understand that since John's got involved, my mission with this community is to bring it together. And for us as a community to get some things done we've only wanted to do for years. I've spent a lot of time with Tom as one of my advisors in this community from his long, let's say, years of experience here, and he's had a front row seat on this world for a long time. I very much appreciate your support and your advice. And one thing Tom said to me one day is, nobody's been able to bring this community together. We're going to change that. We need everybody to understand if we're going to get this lake done, we all need to understand the challenges we have. In the meeting with Mary that he's talking about with the ODNR, I said to Mary, Mary, it's a little tough for you to have the power in your wand when you don't have the resources behind it to grant the wishes everybody wants you to have. I said, you need us to get the power in your wand by getting with our legislators for you to get the resources we can get our jobs done. We need our community together to work, whether it's on Senator McCauley or Senator Huffman. We need people here to understand John's doing his part, and he's been our champion, okay? And I will tell you, I've been very supportive because in all the 60+ years I've been here, I've not seen anybody focus on this issue the way he has, for us to start to even imagine the resources we might acquire to get this challenge accomplished. It's so important that, as John said, we all work together. And I welcome the opportunity for the whole community to see how we do something we have not accomplished in the past. And that's by us learning who we can have influence on to support this common mission that we get this lake done. As he said, it's going to be an expensive project. This is the start. I feel it's a good start. I think it's where the community here and looking, it takes us all to do in the weeds and to influence ODNR, because I found out a few things that might be important for people to understand. And as one time we said at a meeting trying to get the chemical to change the direction of what the weed was doing, we asked Mary, do you have the funds? Mary said, I have them, but I'll have to drop them from one and I have to reprioritize what we're focused on. So we have things here over the years that we've neglected because other projects have have taken priority. I understand that. It's been a learning curve to actually understand what I needed to know to actually focus, to be able to encourage people to get behind what part, because many times we're mad about the wrong thing because we're not focused. We blame people for not doing something they can't even possibly do. So we spend our energies in the wrong place. We need to learn how this works, how we support the right people so we can get behind it, and how we communicate to make that happen. And that's going to be key, and everybody willing to work together. And that's a matter of transparencies and integrity how we do this. So I welcome the opportunity. I think it's great what we've done. I'm thankful everybody's here today. We appreciate the support and only hope that we get more and everybody understands the opportunity we have as a community. Thank you.
So to conclude, what I'm asking all of you, and this is where I know you all get shy, you don't want to do this, but let's send the right message. Starting now, what I'd like outside of my guy Reed who will take the picture, I want, and instead of just me and Bud and our friends dealing with the pickleball courts, I want all of you in the picture together. We're going to come up here, all of us, be in this picture together from different groups and different places. We're going to hold these boards up because the picture we're going to take today is going to get a lot of news. It's going to get a lot of traction. And I want people to see the excitement that we have in bringing this community together. So, come on up. Don't be shy. We need everybody in this picture.
Missouri?
Yep. Right there. Hold that board up. Get you right in the center. Everybody come on up. The rule is if you can see the camera can see you. Come on in, come on in.